This is Shrek. He's an ogre and he is weird. Like, just going off his looks, he's not exactly what one would consider the epitome of peak biological performance. But he's very self-aware and he has more or less made peace with it. So now he's got jokes.
It's hideous! Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
He's also very gross for no real reason at all. Like, I understand being a hideous ogre and all, but what could possibly be the pragmatic utility in showering with mud? If the aim of showering is to get clean, but you're pouring mud all over yourself to stay dirty, then why even have the shower in the first place? He also doesn't really like people, like, at all. And really, if you consider the way he looks, it's definitely a sort of subconscious defense mechanism that functions very similarly to the whole, oh, you can't fire me, I quit strategy, you know? That age-old and incredibly prolific tactic of push the people away before they can reject you. You didn't break up with me, I broke up with you, sort of thing. So you can imagine how apprehensive he was when he met a talking donkey that refused to leave him alone.
Hey, wait a minute, I got a great idea. I'll stick with you.
Meet Donkey. Donkey doesn't have any friends.
I don't have any friends.
He's also a helpless domicile farm animal that can't fend for himself. So when he meets Shrek, this big-ass ogre that instills fear into the hearts of anyone that looks upon him, he's not particularly interested in letting him go. Which is simultaneously annoying and reassuring for Shrek because Donkey doesn't know how to shut the fuck up. But he's the only person that actually likes him for who he is.
I'm an ogre. Doesn't that bother you?
Nope.
Really?
So that's nice, and probably the only real reason Shrek let him tag along for the whole movie. Realistically speaking, that was probably the first compliment he had gotten in years, and I know the boys can relate to that. You know what? Let's all leave Shrek a compliment in the comment section right now. I'll start. Yo Shrek, I fuck with the way you fight, bro. That's some cool shit. You a fighting ass nigga, dude. You a fighting ass nigga? What the fuck is that? Let's move on. The world building. It's very strange and mythical in that fairy tale sort of way. It's a very on-the-nose amalgamation of all the classic fairy tale stories that you know and will soon come to be horrified by in the same way that The Boys is a horrifying yet more realistic variation of the DC comic book universe. Also, Lord Farquaad's insignia sort of looks like a Renaissance Facebook icon for some fucking reason. And you guys, I don't know if the writers noticed this or they did it intentionally, but Donkey doesn't exist in the same timeline as the rest of the movie. He keeps making reference to things like cake, parfait, Tic Tacs, neither of which had been invented in the medieval times, which, you know, I'm no fucking historical expert, but they didn't have Tic Tacs in the medieval times, I'm pretty sure. I think. I don't know. They might have had cake, but they didn't have it in the way he makes reference to it, like the layers of cake with the cake, the icing, the cake, and the layers and stuff.
Cake! Everybody loves cakes. Cakes have layers. I don't care.
They definitely didn't fucking have parfait. I know that for sure. I think. Or maybe Donkey just has his own fucking mindscape where he can just randomly pluck shit from the future and shit.
Hey, can you tell my future from these stars?
Well, the stars don't tell the future, Donkey. They tell stories.
Right.
Shrek believes in astrology. I mean, he says that the stars tell stories of great ogres that came before him. But you can't fucking fool me. I know what it looks like when a girl's checking her star sign. I know what you doing, Shrek. Why you trying to hide that shit, nigga? You checking your fucking horoscope. What the fuck is that? Well, this isn't exactly the 21st century. They ain't got like iPhones and iPads and shit. So he's gotta entertain himself somehow. Check your fucking horoscopes, nigga. You got it. Look, I don't know what was going on back in the early 2000s. Maybe the writers had like more creative liberties to insert just freaky shit into the scripts of fucking kids movies, but this is not a kids movie, bro. There's a lot of overtly sexual references in here for no fucking reason. Like right here when Lord Farquaad is interrogating the gingerbread man, he literally tells him to suck his dick.
Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me! The magic mirror implies that Snow White's a whore for sleeping with 7 other men, or at the very least sleeping in the same house as 7 other men.
Although she lives with 7 other men, she's not easy.
Shrek implies that Lord Farquaad has a tiny dick.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
The fucking puppet show damn well near said the word ass in the middle of their presentation. Shrek literally says the word ass when rescuing Fiona, and like, sure, it's a reference to the colloquial term for donkey, but still!
Wait, where are you going? The exit's over there.
Well, I have to save my ass.
Just smack dab in the middle of the movie, there's a freaky ass dragon in here that's just casually trying to non-consensually mate with Donkey, which is crazy because she was initially trying to eat him, but he complimented her smile and now she wants to have his kids. After they escape, he ends up having a wet dream about her.
Yeah, you know I like it like that. Come on, baby, climb up my saddle. I'll give you right.
Donkey, wake up.
Huh? What?
And finally, Robin Hood's hype men blatantly imply that he's trying to clap Fiona's cheeks in the middle of their musical number.
I like an honest fight and a saucy little maid.
What he's basically saying is he likes to get
paid.
Like, why? Who is this for? Is this for me?
Good question.
Is this for like my generation when we've grown up and rewatched the fucking cartoons and be like, oh, they said the thing. Is that what this is for? Why is this in a fucking kids movie? The fuck? Okay, so let's move on to the plot. The whole story of the movie essentially only happens because Shrek is just bored, tired of being lonely and wants something to do. Donkey even like overtly makes reference to it and he just fucking shrugs it off.
Okay, let me get this straight. You're gonna go fight a dragon and rescue a princess just so Farquaad to give you back a swamp, which you only don't have because he filled it full of freaks in the first place. Is that about right?
You know what? Maybe there's a good reason Donkey shouldn't talk.
The plot is that this jackass Lord Farquaad wants to round up all the mythical fairy tale creatures and send them off to concentration camps. Sorry, designated resettlement facilities. So they all somehow eventually escape and rendezvous at Shrek's swamp, which is only meant for him. So now that everybody is there and he doesn't fucking like people, he has to go to Lord Farquaad to tell him to get the people out of there so he can be alone back in his swamp. Swamp? Swamp. I meant swamp. Jeez, Wacko, get it together. So Shrek gets there and because Lord Farquaad wants to marry a princess, he sends Shrek off to go and rescue Princess Fiona. You know, in exchange for the deed to his swamp. Which is dumb because the only reason you're going on this mission in the first place is because you want your swamp back. The same swamp you don't have because Lord Farquaad put fairy tale creatures in there. You could just beat him up and then get him to release the fucking fairy tale creatures from your swamp. You don't need to go on this mission, but he only goes on mission because he's bored, he's lonely, he wants something to do, and yeah, that's about it. But you guys though, come on, we need to talk about Fiona. This bitch must have had a secret life that she's not telling us about because how the fuck do you learn karate by yourself in a tower with nobody there to teach you and nobody to practice on? How are you beating up these fucking Robin Hood niggas left and right with no fucking practice? How? Or does you two fucking exist in this universe as well and they just not fucking telling us? Is this fucking Donkey's mindscape now? So Shrek ends up rescuing her, defeating the dragon and you know they escape. Now they're on their way back to Lord Farquaad so they can marry him and you know do the Prince Charming shit. But they end up having this stereotypical Disney love montage where they find out that they actually got a lot of things in common, which essentially is their own like sped up version of a talking stage. It happens right after Shrek reveals that he's secretly insecure about the way people judge him for no reason and he has to push them away first so that they don't have the opportunity to hurt him. You know, the whole hot people conundrum that I believe we touched on a little bit at the beginning of the video. And because Sensei Fiona over here relates to that a little bit because you know the whole secretly turn into an ogre in the middle of the night situation that she's got going on. Her brain then immediately goes, oh, he's just like me for real. And she starts showing him her more precarious, less graceful side. But just like with every fucking talking stage, there's always that pivotal moment of miscommunication. That moment where it seems like everything is going great. You like her, she likes you. But because you're both too scared to reveal your true feelings for each other because of the fucking generation that we live in, nobody fucking says shit. You're all just fucking flirting back and forth from a distance. Then, the most inconsequential, littlest thing happens. But because of fucking insecurities, years of pent-up emotional trauma and just built-up trust issues, nobody wants to fucking communicate, so everyone just goes off to their little shell and, oh, she hurt me, no, he hurt me, and nobody fucking talks. So, the movie ends up turning that whole thing into a subplot. Just this big ass game of telephone. He said, she said, he said, Donkey said, she said, Shrek heard Donkey say, Donkey heard Shrek say, but no, Shrek heard Donkey say, Fiona say this and that. That whole fucking bullshit. So, I'm going to try and explain this as rationally as I can. Fiona gets into the dark room because at night she turns into an ogre. Then Donkey walks in to try and tell her that, Shrek likes her and he has feelings for her. But Donkey sees her as an ogre, so Fiona explains that when she was younger, she was enchanted by this fucking witch that made her look like a fucking ogre at night, but she has to get true love's kiss so that she can take love's true form. Emphasis on love's true form.
Until you find true love's first kiss, and then take love's true form.
So while they're having their whole heart-to-heart conversation, Shrek finally mans up and tries to actually confess his feelings to Fiona. But before he could enter the door, he overhears that conversation and Fiona is like, who could ever love a hideous beast like this? Shrek thinks that Fiona is calling him a hideous beast. Meanwhile, she's referring to herself as a hideous beast because she's an ogre now. So Shrek is like, she don't love me, she fucking hates me, she thinks I'm ugly, I'ma fuck off now. So he goes off to go and call Lord Farquaad. Then the next day, Fiona is like, okay, I'm gonna tell him how I feel, I'm gonna show him everything, communication is key, all that bullshit. Shrek comes back and then Fiona is like, oh, I have something to tell you. And then Shrek is like, nah bitch, I heard everything you had to say, I'm not interested, fuck off. And then Fiona is like, oh, you heard what I said? That's great. So you understand? And then Shrek is like, yeah, I understand perfectly. Like you said, who would ever love a ugly, hideous beast? But then Shrek thinks that Fiona said that about him. So now, the way he's saying it back to Fiona, Fiona thinks that Shrek is saying, who could ever love a hideous, ugly beast like her? So in Shrek's mind, Fiona is calling him ugly. Meanwhile, she was calling herself ugly. And now, in Fiona's mind, Shrek is calling her ugly. Meanwhile, Shrek is calling himself ugly. So they're just internalizing each other's self-loathing. But it's coming off as if they're projecting it against one another, as if they're using it to fight each other. Like they're calling each other ugly, but they're really calling themselves ugly. And it's just, fuck! Just speak clearly. Please! What are you niggas doing? But essentially, the meat of the matter is, Fiona believes that Shrek doesn't want her because she's an ugly ogre, which would be the biggest and craziest double standard in the history of double standards. This then leads her to start being toxic, so she starts rubbing her new wedding arrangements in his face, sucking up to Lord Fuckface in an attempt to hurt him in the way she thinks he just hurt her, which obviously fucks with his emotions, triggers his trauma response to push everyone away. So he tells Donkey to fuck off while literally fighting back tears.
You're not coming home with me. I live alone. My swamp. Me. Nobody else, understand? Nobody!
Because, now we're at the emotional pivotal point of the movie, because Shrek is this guy that doesn't like people. He accepted people into his life. He liked Donkey. He liked Fiona. They backstabbed him. Or at the very least, that's what he's able to ascertain from his own, obscured perception of the sequence of events. Which, it's all just one big mess, because Donkey even tries to explain things to him, but Shrek is too emotional to listen, because he thinks that Donkey was making fun of him with Fiona as well. He thought Fiona and Donkey were calling him a hideous beast. So now he's just pushing them both away and going back to his swamp with his deed.
All the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Just the most unnecessary sadness in the air that could be resolved with open and clear communication, which is exactly what fucking Donkey does. Out of the three of them that are all part of this fucking painful, you hurt me, I hurt you triangle, Donkey is the only one that doesn't repay evil with evil. He actually breaks the hurt people feedback loop and goes back to forgive Shrek and explain things to him clearly. So, between the ogre, the princess and the donkey, the fucking farm animal is the only one with an iota of common sense amongst them.
Well, if I treated you so bad, how come you came back?
Because that's what friends do. They forgive each other.
A fucking domicile donkey is the only one with a shred of emotional intelligence in this whole fucking movie. So, they crash the wedding. Shrek confesses his feelings. She reveals her true form. They kiss. The curse gets broken. She takes love's true form, which we've all been conditioned to believe is her human form. But she still looks like an ogre, so she's rightfully confused. But Shrek, being that fucking nigger that he is, washes away all her insecurities with just one line.
But I don't understand. I'm supposed to be beautiful.
But you are beautiful.
You guys! He said the thing! Oh God. Oh, I love me a good love story, man. I love that shit. Oh, they got married. He told her he loves her. He said she was beautiful, even though she felt ugly. I can't even say the word beautiful without cracking up. Oh, it's just a beautiful movie. It's just a beautiful fucking movie. Oh God. Oh, that was good. That was good. Anyway, I think that's about it. Subscribe to the Patreon for Weird Spectrum, my Patreon only exclusive podcast where I that was bullshit. My Patreon exclusive weekly podcast where I review movies and answer your question. Whew. Well, this was fun. Subscribe to the Patreon, link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next analysis.
But you are beautiful.
He said the thing! Oh my God!